Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be playing football this or that. If you're for some reason not familiar with how this or that works, basically you guys give me two options and I pick which one I obviously prefer, which one I think is better. I asked you guys a couple days back on my community tab to give me some this or that questions, whether it was like football stadiums or football managers or football peaks or football players, basically anything footy related, and you guys for sure delivered. So thank you guys so much for everybody who participated and obviously submitted theirs on the community tab. If you're for some reason, again, same thing I said with the hot takes, if you're for some reason not featured in today's video because I don't want it to be 50 minutes long because there are like 43 comments under this community tab. So again, I'm not going to get to all of them. But again, don't be mad, don't be discouraged, don't be sad. I promise you I'm going to be doing this a lot more. So one day you will be featured in one of these. Just maybe today was not your day. But anyway, man, I cannot wait to get into this video. And yeah, let's hop right into this or that. The first one we got here is a really good one. Peak Salah or peak Hazard. This is one of the most polarizing debates in the football community at the moment, and I think it reached a new height when Eden Hazard retired in September of last year, because this debate used to be had amongst like people all the time, but once Hazard retired, I just feel like everybody was talking about this, like who's the better player. I feel like Liverpool fans obviously were siding with Mohamed Salah because rightfully that's their guy, and I think football fans and like just Chelsea fans were siding with Eden Hazard. Me personally, bro, first of all, I want to preface my comments by saying this before I give my answer. I think both of these guys are some of the greatest players the Premier League has ever seen. I think both of these guys are so unique and brought so many different things to the table and can impact the game in so many different ways. But to me, and this might be an unpopular opinion and I'm not sure why it would be, I'm going to take peak Mohamed Salah. Now, peak Eden Hazard, I mean, Eden Hazard in his prime, he was like, for a 3-year period, he was arguably the best player, not even arguably, to me, he was the best player in the Premier League for that 3-year period. I'm talking about like from 2015, 2016 to 2018, 2019, he was unstoppable, he was unplayable. His dribbling is something like I've never seen before. And that's really the big argument with Eden Hazard. It's aesthetic and how, like, the way he played, and when you watched him play, how he made you feel. I think when I look at Eden Hazard's dribbling, it looked like he had super glue on his fucking cleat. And the only people that I can compare it to are like Messi or Neymar or Maradona, guys who when they dribbled, you were just like, how the fuck is that guy even human? Like, how is he so good? Low center of gravity, just knew how to like manipulate the game in so many different ways. But the only argument that Eden Hazard has, and I want to make this very clear, is the aesthetic argument. Production, which matters, by the way. I'm not saying production is the end-all be-all, but it is a big portion of the pie. People want to make it seem like production doesn't matter at all and just like watch them play, who do you think is better? Yes, that matters, but at the same time, you got to produce on the pitch. And to me, when you look at production, it's not even close, by the way. Mohamed Salah laps Eden Hazard in production. He's just with a way more productive player in terms of goals and assists and just output in general. And I think people underestimate how good Mohamed Salah's been since he arrived at Liverpool. And it's been like 6 years since he got to Liverpool. I mean, he's been at Liverpool for like 6 years at this point, and the man has done nothing but been great ever since. And he's been in the argument for best top 5 player in the world ever since he got to Liverpool. And he's won it all. He's won UCLs, which is something Hazard never did at Chelsea. He's won Premier Leagues, which obviously Hazard did. He's had amazing UCL campaigns. He's had amazing UCL Premier League campaigns. He's won the Golden Boot. I mean, this guy is insanely good. To me, I think Mohamed Salah is in the conversation for greatest Premier League player of all time, along with guys like Wayne Rooney and Alan Shearer and Cristiano Ronaldo and Thierry Henry. I think he's in that conversation. He's in that room. No matter how much people want to deny it, he's in that room. He's been that amazing since he got to the Premier League. I don't think Eden Hazard's in that conversation. I think Eden Hazard, again, aesthetically, and like if you're asking me who would I rather watch play, who would I pay money to go watch play, I'd tell you Eden Hazard, okay? But again, that's not really the question here. Who's the better player? Who had the better peak? I think Mohamed Salah had the better peak, in my opinion at least. Again, if you like watching Eden Hazard play better, that's fine. But separate who you like watching play and who's actually the better player. And then that, like, if we're asking who the better player is, which is what this question is asking, it's Mohamed Salah, to me at least. The next one, center-back partnership. Maldini and Nesta or Piqué and Puyol. Two iconic center-back partnerships. I think Piqué and Puyol and Maldini and Nesta are arguably in the top 5 center-back duos of all time. But I'm going to take Maldini and Nesta. Obviously, both of these duos won everything. They won leagues, they won UCLs, they won it all together. But I think Maldini's better than Piqué, and I think Nesta's better than Puyol. I think both of these guys are better. Now, I've said in a TikTok in the past that I think Puyol is better than Nesta. I kind of revised that and I watched some Nesta highlights and I watched some Nesta film and I underestimated how fucking good Nesta is. I mean, the guys, just because again, Puyol and Piqué, I'm going to have like a love in my heart for them because obviously they're both club legends for the club that I support, both from Barcelona. And I watched these guys growing up and they won everything for the club. Puyol lifting the UCL as a captain. I mean, Piqué as well, being one of the most legendary figures in Barcelona over the past decade and won everything with the club. But when I'm looking at the center back partnership and who was better, I think Maldini and Nesta are just, I think they're a tier above Puyol and Piqué. Next one, 1999 Manchester United or 2023 Man City. Obviously, both of these teams are iconic teams, two treble-winning teams led by two legendary managers, Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola. Man United had an amazing team with Teddy Sheringham and Dwight York and Andy Cole and Ryan Giggs and Gary Neville and Peter Schmeichel and Jaap Stam and Roy Keane was on that team as well. That team was fucking stacked. Obviously, David Beckham as well. And then Man City obviously had Haaland and Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne and Grealish and Julian Alvarez and Rodri and Stones and Diaz and Ederson and Kyle Walker and Akanji and fucking Ake. I mean, both of these teams are stacked. If these two teams played, honestly, I don't even think it would be close. I think Man City spanks them 5-0, but also the game has evolved in a different way, and football is just way more different now than it was in the 1990s. Like, it's just a completely different sport almost. But to me, I'm going to take Man City. I think they were the better team. I think they were the more dominant team. Now, nothing to take away from Man United because obviously both of these teams won a treble. They did something that Real Madrid has never done, actually. Isn't that crazy, guys? Both of these teams won a treble, and Real Madrid has never won a treble. But anyway, I digress. To me, when I'm looking at both of these teams, I think Pep Guardiola is a better manager than Sir Alex Ferguson, and I think that was proven out to be true in 2 UCL finals in Rome and in Wembley. And I think that team, I mean, Erling Haaland, bro, he's a machine. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is a fucking machine. Again, Dwight York, Andy Cole, fantastic players. Man City, to me, is just the better team. The next one is a stadium question. Allianz Arena or Wembley in terms of beauty? By the way, you're good. Well, thank you, bro, for that comment. It does mean a lot to me. That's very nice of you. And in terms of, like, the two stadiums, I'm going to take Wembley. I think Wembley's a nicer stadium. I like that arc that it has in the front, like, on the top. And I also, I'm biased because my memories of Wembley are a lot better than Allianz Arena. Again, I'm not trying to let bias, like, infiltrate my opinion because, again, it's in terms of beauty. It has nothing to do with, like, results and memories in that stadium. But it does, like, honestly, bro, I'm an emotional fan and it's going to infiltrate me right now because my memories of Allianz Arena are fucking terrible, and my memories of Wembley Stadium are some of the greatest memories that I've ever had watching football. So I'm going to take Wembley. The next one is peak KDB or peak Luka Modric. Another very good question. To me, comparing these two guys is kind of weird because their positions are vastly different and their roles on their team and what they're asked to do are, again, vastly different. I think Luka Modric is more of a box-to-box while KDB is more of that attacking midfielder, final third specialist. When I'm looking at both of these players, though, I'm going to take Luka Modric. Again, they're asked to do very different things. I just think Luka Modric is the better player, the more complete player, and I think he had a higher peak. Do I think both of these guys sit at the same table when it comes to midfielders? Yes, I think KDB's on that table now. I think KDB is one of the greatest midfielders in the history of the Premier League. I think he's one of the greatest midfielders in the history of football. But Luka Modric, he sits like it's the same table, but Luka Modric is like almost at the head of the table, and KDB's a little bit far back. He's like by the kids section of the table. Again, it's a big table, but KDB's by the kids section. Luka Modric is next to Zidane and Iniesta and Xavi and those guys. I don't think KDB's with like I don't know, Scholes, maybe, like down there. Again, no disrespect. Again, it's the table of greatest midfielders of all time. But I think when I'm looking at Luka Modric, I think he's had a better career. I think he's a better footballer overall. I think he can impact the game in more ways than KDB can. So for that reason, I'm going to take Luka Modric. Also, Luka Modric, Ballon d'Or winner, something KDB has never done. Again, we're not judging everything based on individual awards, but he did do that. I mean, Luka Modric did win a Ballon d'Or in the Messi Ronaldo era. Prime Kaka or Prime Ozil? Prime Kaka. This to me is not even really close. Prime Ozil was amazing. One of the best players that I've ever seen. I mean, his creativity and his passing and his dribbling. I mean, everything about Ozil was just amazing. But Prime Kaka, bro, there was a period in time where Kaka was the best player in the world. There was no period in time where Ozil was the best player in the world. So to me, I'm going to take Kaka. That man from like 05, 04 to like 2008, 2007, Kaka was unstoppable, bro. Obviously won a Ballon d'Or. We know how good this guy was. I'm going to take Kaka. Which hurt more, Roma or Chelsea 2012? Both of these losses, I've rewatched both of them on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to go check that out, they're on my page. Both of them hurt like a bitch. Basically like every Barca UCL exit. But to me, Roma is going to be, it's going to hurt more because, first of all, that Barca team in 2012 was amazing. I expected us to win the UCL that year. I expected us to go back-to-back, but obviously that was not possible. But I think Chelsea were the better team through 2 legs. Honestly, I think they were. I think that Barca team, I don't know, something happened to Messi that in those 2 legs, and we just couldn't finish our chances. We were just like, and Messi also missed the pen. We just weren't clinical enough. Against Roma, bro, and by the way, that Chelsea team ended up winning the whole UCL, and they beat Bayern Munich in their stadium. So that Chelsea team was not scrubs, or they were not shit at all. They were a really good team. Even though, despite the fact that they finished 6th in the Premier League, they were still a really good team. Roma, on the other hand, we're up 4-1 at home, and then we're going back to their stadium. All we have to do is not concede 3 goals, and we're going through to the semifinal. And we concede 3 goals. And the way that we played, and just, it was like not making subs until the 80th minute, which is a fucking crime and travesty. Ernesto Valverde, how the fuck did you keep your job after that? How did you keep your job after Liverpool I'll never know. Honestly, it keeps me up at night thinking about that Roma leg. It's one of the most painful losses I've ever suffered. That Barca team was nothing special, by the way. Messi was basically carrying that fucking load of bums because that's what they were. Suarez was missing chances left and right. Iniesta was old. Sergio Roberto, who was bad then and still plays for Barca now, was just fucking crazy. This team in general wasn't great. Our defense was pretty shitty, I'm not gonna lie, in that UCL campaign. Not in the whole season because we almost went invincible, but that was mostly because of Messi. I just don't think that Barca team was that good, to be honest with you. Like if that team didn't have Messi, we would have finished like 7th in La Liga, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I'm gonna take Roma 100%. I mean, that collapse is just it's unforgivable. 2009 Barca or 2015 Barca. Terms of your favorite and which one was better. So which one was better and which one was what's my favorite one are two like very different questions. The better team was 2009 because 2009 Barca is simply the greatest club team of all time. You can argue with your mom about that. I'm sure she's gonna care way more than me. 2009 Barca, you can throw any team you want at me, okay? Like fucking 2017 Real Madrid, 2013 Bayern Munich, 2010 Inter, all these teams, blah 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 blah. 2009 Barca is the most dominant team to ever play football. So I'm gonna take, in terms of like which team was better, again it's 09. In terms of which one was my favorite, it's 2015 because obviously I was older. I was around 13, 14 years old. I remember that team a lot more than 2009. Now, I remember 2009. I watched almost every single game that Barca played that season, but I was 8 years old watching that team play. So it's not really the same thing. I have way more of an affection and a love towards 2015 because, again, I watched that whole season and I was older and I could just remember it better. So for me, I think both of these teams are two of the 5 greatest teams to ever play, like to club teams ever in the history of football. But I'm going to take 2009 Barca in terms of like which one was better. But in terms of like which one is my favorite, again, 2015. I hope that answers your question. Sorry if that was a little bit complicated. The next one, UCL Three-Peat or Treble. Oh boy, have I talked about this on my TikTok for a while. If you follow me on TikTok for a while now, you know where I stand on this. I believe the Treble is the hardest thing to accomplish in the history of football, in club football, I should say. Now, obviously, UCL Three-Peats in the modern UCL era, it's never been done except for one team, Real Madrid, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, which is very impressive. But a UCL Three-Peat, I've said this a bunch of times, it happens in 3 different seasons. So you can add new players, your players have a chance to recover from injury, and the UCL, let's be honest guys, it's a knockout style competition and anything can happen in the UCL. And Real Madrid, they're not the type of team that, like in their 2 UCL, in those Three-Peat years, they won 1 league in 2017. And I don't even think they won a single Copa del Rey. Yeah, they didn't win a single Copa del Rey in those 3 years. A treble is, you got to be consistent through 38 league games. You got to win your domestic cup, which is very difficult to do because you can't lose to Celta Vigo, you can't lose to fucking Cadiz, you can't lose to all these different teams like in the round of 32. Like you can't do that. And then you also have to go on and win the UCL. Real Madrid are great at winning the UCL, but when it comes to being consistent through 38 games and winning your domestic cup, which is very difficult to do, they've never been able to do that. In their history, they've never won a treble. So to me, when I see a treble winning team, I think this team is really the best team in the world. When I see a team that wins the treble, there's no debate that's the best team in Europe. A team can win the UCL and not be the best team in Europe. I know that's kind of oxymoronic because the whole thing is like when you win the UCL, you're like, the title is the best in Europe. But does anybody really believe that 2012 Chelsea was the best team in Europe? Does anybody believe they were better than Real Madrid that season, that team with Jose Mourinho? Does anybody believe they were better than Barcelona with Pep Guardiola that season? No. Does anybody believe that 2021 Chelsea was the best team in Europe that year? No, let's be honest here. Does anybody believe that 2019 Spurs, even though they got to a UCL final, does anybody believe they're one of the top 2 best teams in Europe that year? No, because there's a lot of luck, there's a lot of there's a lot of different things that goes into winning a UCL because and it makes it really hard to win, but still when I'm looking at a treble, it's consistency and it's greatness through like the whole season and the whole campaign. Players can get injured, players can get suspended, players can get tired. It doesn't matter. You're consistently going and winning all these competitions. You got to win. So to me, I'm always going to pick a treble over a three-peat. That's just me though. Thomas Müller peak or Toni Kroos peak. These two guys are some of the greatest players of this generation. Truly, they both are some of the greatest players of this generation. Both very different, similar to Luka Modric and KDB and the way that what they're asked to do. I think obviously, like Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, they kind of like have a similar career in the sense that they both obviously played for Bayern Munich and they were both part of that treble-winning team in 2013. But on that team, Thomas Müller got a lot more of the shine. I shouldn't say they're similar. Actually, they're not similar at all. But they both played for Bayern Munich, and in that sense, in that era, Thomas Müller got a lot more of the shine because he was a German, like he was the star boy from Germany who was scoring a bunch of goals in the World Cup. And Toni Kroos, you know, he was kind of like he was undervalued in a way, or just not like underrated. I should say, not undervalued, underrated. And then once Toni Kroos got to Real Madrid, people started to realize how good this guy is. When I'm looking at like their peaks, I would say that Thomas Müller has a better peak, but that's just me, and I think it's really, really slight. But again, it's just kind of weird to compare both of these guys because their roles are so different. So when I'm like, I think Toni Kroos is one of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen, but I also think Thomas Müller is amazing. I mean, this guy is one of the top one of the top 10, or like, what the fuck am I saying? He's one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the UCL, one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the World Cup. I mean, this guy, when it comes to big moments, he delivers every single time. And Toni Kroos as well. But to me, I'm gonna take Thomas Müller slightly. That might be controversial, but again, both of these guys are very close in my opinion. And lastly, we're finishing off with a Messi Ronaldo question. Ronaldo 2014 or Messi 2015? You could argue these are both of these guys' peaks. Ronaldo in 2014 scored 17 goals in the UCL. He was amazing. Messi in 2015 won the Treble with Barcelona, won the Ballon d'Or. Both of these guys won the Ballon d'Or. Me, obviously, I'm going to go with Messi in 2015. I think Messi in 2015 is the most complete version. You could argue not the most complete, I think 2019, but 2015 you could argue is Messi's best season. And if it's Messi's best season, if you could argue it is, it's the best season. It's arguably the greatest season in the history of football. Again, not to take away from Ronaldo in 2014 because he was amazing and the way that he played. I mean, that was right before his knee injury where he was just like a dribbling machine. He was just a monster where he could score any type of goal. But Messi in 2015, bro, let's be real, guys. I mean, this guy, what he did was out of this world. Out of this world. Like, the performances that he put forth in the UCL and the Copa del Rey final and in La Liga, I mean, just clutch and amazing. I mean, and this guy, I mean, fucking, in the span of like a month, he put Jerome Boateng in the blender and scored an iconic goal, one of the most iconic goals in UCL history, and then scored one of the most iconic goals in the Copa del Rey. No, actually the most iconic goal in Copa del Rey final history. So to me, again, you could say I'm biased, but I think that people actually know football would say Messi 2015. And that, guys, is the end of the this or that. Again, if I couldn't get to your this or that, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to make this video too long because I'm not sure how many of you guys like watching long videos. But if you do, let me know in the comment section. I appreciate you all for submitting your this or that. It does mean a lot to me. I will be doing this a lot more, so don't be like, I promise you'll get your chance to submit your thing on the community tab. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love all of you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.